We'll call this meeting to order. Pastor McNeely will lead us in invocation.
Eternal God, our Father, we come today to conduct business of this county. We pray, O God, that you would touch the hearts of those who will bring presentations, those who make decisions concerning this entire county, that we would do it fluently with all persons under consideration, and most of all, with the understanding that there is a God who has given us the power to make these decisions. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
This is a regular meeting of the Hendry County Board of County Commissioners being held on Tuesday, October 10th, 2017 at 5 p.m. in the City Commissioners' Chambers in Coolston, Florida. In attendance are Chairman Michael Swindle, Vice Chairman Darrell Harris, Commissioner Summer Bird, Commissioner Mitchell Wills, Commissioner Carson Kern, County Administrator Charles Chapman, County Attorney Mark Latt, and Deputy Clerk Steve Clark.
Thank you very much. Under bids, I have nothing under bids. Next is consent agenda. Is there anything to be pulled or discussed from consent agenda?
Move to accept.
Second. Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Turner. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is a public hearing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
This is a public hearing, and Ms. Embledge.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a request to amend the animal control section of the Land Development Code. One of the sections is simply correcting references, nothing of substance. The other section, which is 1-5-9, is changing the amount of time that animal control holds an animal, changing it from 5 days to 3 days. And just as a correction, in another section of my staff report, I switched it around and said 5 days, 3 days to 5 days, and it's 5 days to 3 days.
5 down to 3.
Just want to make sure you're not confused by my write-up.
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve option number 1 with the corrected language.
This is 3 business days, not 2 days.
3 business days.
Yes, I'm
Got it.
sorry for not clarifying. That's correct.
Okay, all right. Motion moved by Commissioner Turner and second by Commissioner Harris to approve option 1. This is a hearing of the public. Does any members of the public wish to address this issue? Seeing none.
Doug put a lot of time in this, and I think it's a good ordinance.
Okay, very good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir?
one thing that I was just wondering, I don't need the answer right now, but when you get into the sections and first offense, second offense, third offense, the numbers, I don't know what's high, what's low. I really don't have an opinion either way. I know how much it costs to deal with animals, and it's an expensive process. But seeing those numbers and then going back to the civil infraction shall not exceed $500 per violation, I was wondering, is the first offense, second offense, third offense chart that's listed there, is it part of what they consider the civil infraction, which will not exceed 500?
I would have to write multiple citations. I can't write anything over 500.
Okay. That answer your question?
Yeah. So really, I mean, I'm not. So the chart's kind of irrelevant. It's just a guiding principle because, I mean, just look, if somebody has a first, second, and third offense, I don't know what constitutes all those different things.
Do you want some clarification?
Nope. I would love for him to, if possible, if you could give staff, just a general rundown of what an annual year looks like, you know, and what the average is, and like if we have repeat offenders or we have people that are constantly being the problem for the county that's taking up a tremendous amount of your time. You know, it's kind of like, I think the sheriff told me one time 20% of the population is like 80% of the problem. I know principals say that all the time. So it's just, if we could have some action, some feedback on that, I'd love to know it. That's it.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Under correspondence, any questions under the action items? Any questions for the FYI?
motion to vote on
Letter
that?
of support.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the letter of support for the RPC.
Got it. Motion moved by Commissioner Turner to approve the letter of the RPC, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
And then you want action on
Same.
the DRCC?
Same thing, we have to have that one also.
And I did reach out to see if there was an opportunity to get either an individualized DRC for a disaster recovery coordinator for the record for Hendry County, or maybe a split between Hendry and Glades, and I was told this is a regional effort, and that was not on the table for discussion, so it's going to be by region.
Okay.
So you just need a motion for that. So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Turner. Is there any discussion?
I don't want staff to have to be devoted towards, if they're so fortunate enough to get someone, that we have to educate them, do all the paperwork. So, I mean, it's just legwork after legwork after legwork.
No.
I'm not going to bring up the previous phrase that was going to save the world. Y'all know what I'm thinking of. And I know y'all did a lot of work associated with that. A lot of work. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Any questions on the FYI correspondence? Okay, seeing none, going into staff reports, first thing, Attorney Lapp.
Chairman, members of the board, this is getting back to you from the discussion we had in early August about the method of election of commissioners as far as possible change from at-large to single-member districts to at-large. I asked, we hired the law firm, we did its initial evaluation, concluded that there's a lot of demographic and voting analysis that need to be done to support, to make the case, if there is a case to be made, that it could comply, that a change could comply with the law. His initial estimate was 30,000, and that's what it was when I wrote this up. I did push him after that and say, really, is that what it's going to have to be? And he did reply, I've been going back and forth here for a while, just before I walked in here. He said that the political scientists' fee would be 10,000, give or take a little bit. He wasn't clear, but he said, well, plus or minus 10,000 for the political scientist, and then the attorney would be on top of that for some additional work. I asked him, how much is your part of that? How much more is your part of that? And he didn't reply yet. So if you're inclined to move forward, you could put a cap on it and just say, okay, you're wanting to move forward, but it's capped at some amount. Or you could just say, you don't want to be spending money on this, you just want to leave things as they are.
Okay. Any questions or any discussion from the board?
Yeah, my discussion is, I don't want to spend $30,000 to $40,000.
I tend to agree. If we were flush with cash, it would be nice to see what the political scientists said, but we're nowhere near there today, I don't believe.
And this is something that always could be looked at later.
I agree. Commissioner Wills, any opinion?
I agree with Mr. Harris at this point. I don't see the money we don't have, spending the money we don't have now. The voters do want to see this come to pass, so it's something we need to entertain in the future for sure.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Byrd?
I have no comments because I didn't want to see it go forward from the beginning, so I'm glad that it's at a standstill at this point.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Turner?
I don't know what the percentage was, but it was over 60% of the people wanted to see their vote move towards a district, a countywide election. I think that personally, I would love to see him harden up these costs. 2 to 4 months. I mean, basically, if we sit on this, I think we're going to be pushing it out past 2020, 2022. Have we asked our state agency, the Florida Association of Counties, to weigh in on this? And do we know if Neighbors Giblin or are there any other firms that have a history or background with doing anything like this? I don't know.
Law firm name
From Neighbors?
From Ginger.
Gotcha.
She gave me the law firm name. There's not many firms that do this because there's not many. There's only a few counties that are subject to this, and the ones that aren't trying to change it, although a few have, and this attorney has worked on those.
So how many counties right now? Is it 5 or 7?
Well, for pre-clearance, it's 5, but pre-clearance is not what it used to be as a result of the Supreme Court decision. But there's 5 in the state of Florida that were result of litigation challenging at large, did switch to single member. And so like the two that he worked for, this attorney worked for before, Gulf, Washington, that neither of them are pre-clearance counties. So there are counties that are subject to this that are not pre-clearance counties. Like I said in an earlier report, Washington got it changed because they made the case and the court approved it. Gulf, once the analysis was done, they said,
Gulf is countywide, live in a district, correct?
no, I think they're still single member.
Really?
I think that they did not change. They were, because it was going to be too involved to change, and said, well, let's leave well enough alone, and just leave it. And so they didn't change after an initial review, but it didn't go to court a second time. It went to court the first time.
Because once you spend whatever it costs through the attorneys and all the background and all that, then it would have to go back to the federal judge.
Yes.
Then he'd have to make a decision.
That's correct.
Or it can still be denied, right?
Yeah.
Could be.
Could be denied, and would be denied if it showed, if the data showed that there would be a violation of the Voting Rights Act. He's not going to approve it if that's the case, but, he possibly would approve it if the data showed that the Voting Rights Act would not be violated by a change. The data would drive that. And then you'd also have, other persons who could step forward, minority groups could step forward and challenge whatever we were, let's say we said, our analysis showed no problem. Well, they can do their own analysis and say there would be a problem, and then the judge would have to decide.
Which is gonna get more costly.
I have a hard problem with just putting this to bed without having more of a thought process weighed in from the public. I'd love to know what our supervisor of elections thinks. I mean, I just think that, when 60% of the people, and it was 60+% vote to want to see that, I think that speaks volumes to me. And
It's a no-brainer that that's what our voting base wants to see happen.
Yeah.
However, again, we're still at the same crossroads of affordability and cash flow. And would there be any harm to putting a hiatus on it until we've seen exactly what was going to happen with our expenditures with the hurricane efforts to clean up, reimbursements, the time framing, and things like that?
The board can do whatever they want to do, but
Commissioner Turner?
it sounds like I'm on the losing end of the vote anyway.
Well, I don't think so. I totally agree with you, but I'm just worried about economics. What do you? You feel like?
Well, so if I'm in a utopia, what I would love is for this to be a discussion point that we have for our attorney and or staff to prepare a report that shows us what did you say the phrase was? Say it again. Pre-clearance? Is that what you said?
I did say that, but that's not the.
No, I'm saying that's a jargon term that you just used that I'm not familiar with. Do you know what pre-clearance means? Do y'all know what it means?
It really doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
Pre-clearance meant that every single change that we made, like for example when we redistricted after the census, that you could. It wasn't just you all deciding and that's the end of it. We had to send it up to the U.S. Department of Justice and explain why we did what we did, and they had to approve it before it was effective.
And that was
because we were only one of
because
5 counties in the state that was subject to that requirement, and we had to do that in 2012 after the 2010 census. But in 2014 or 15, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the pre-clearance requirement in the Voting Rights Act was unconstitutional, and they tossed it out and said that it's not required anymore. So that just means we don't have to get pre-approval when we change our district boundaries. But the Voting Rights Act still exists, and it still prohibits measures that serve to dilute and deprive minority people of their voting rights. And because of that, we still have to comply and show that we're not going to violate the Voting Rights Act. I shouldn't say because of that. Because of the fact that we were subject to litigation back in '91 is the reason we have to go back to the federal court and show that we're not going to violate those rights. So the pre-clearance part isn't really relevant here.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we were subject to litigation back in '91 that is the most important thing.
Gotcha. And like, I don't know if it's 5 or 7 counties that are still single member area. How many have moved to it? I'd love to see what the time frame is associated with, like, let's say Gulf or Hardy, just using 2 examples. They were at large and then went to single member. Well, I'd love to reach out to their administrator. I'd love to reach out to their county commissioners and say, well, why? What was the genesis? How does it worked out? Has it made your ability to communicate a code enforcement issue or to drive an issue that needs to be moving the needle in whatever area that is? Has it made that process easier? I don't know. I go back to I just want to try to make sure that we're listening to what the voters want. I will tell you, when I talk to people, it's way more than 60% of the people say, I don't care where you live, I pay taxes in this county, I want to have the ability to vote your butt in office or vote your butt out of office. And that speaks volumes to me. But that's, that's where I'm at.
I've heard that mixed bag. I've heard that, and I've also heard,
I've heard the opposite way.
You're right, I've heard both sides of it.
I can argue that it makes sense to keep it the way it is, because I think, like, okay, for example, trying to get stuff cleaned up right now, it's so much easier for a smaller group of people to be able to squeeze and hang on and say, I need action to occur right now. And I think that your efforts aren't diluted throughout the entire county, trying to make sure, that a neighborhood that you're really probably not going to drive through once in a year unless you choose to go seek it, you're not really keen to what's going on there. So, you can make the statement. I mean, you can make the argument either way.
And if the board wasn't operating the last 18 years, and had no problems, I've never had a problem with Clewiston. Clewiston, I guess, has no problem with our side of the county. We've all worked together, so there's never been a problem.
Well, then I'll just say I don't live in that same utopia.
Right. I've never had a problem with Clewiston.
Well, if you don't want to recognize that there's a divide.
Well, that's just
Okay.
that's football.
No, it's not just football.
Well, everything has its ups and downs. The reality is what they're looking for is accountability.
That's it.
It's accountability. And the fact remains that you may be the commissioner in District 1, 2, or 3, but the fact is you are the commissioner of Hendry County.
No doubt.
Always.
All of us need to, and there should be no divide, and that's something that needs to be done away with. It does not need to be a LaBelle and a Clewiston. Needs to be a Hendry County fact and issue. Changing voting is not going to do that. What's going to change that is changing the way people think, the way they see things, and the way they see us as 5 members up here operate. We operate together for the better of the entire county rather than saying my district. That's the reason when we say, business by district. Well, by district could be from Hendry County to Montura. It could be Felda. It's the entire county. And I think as long as we stay focused on the fact that it is Hendry County, not the city of Clewiston, not the city of LaBelle, it's Hendry County. I believe that we'll be able to move forward.
I agree.
And I know that
Good
was put in place for a reason for the minority. And the thing of it is that the reason behind it, was not a good reason for it. So, but I know eventually we are going to have to listen to the voters. So hopefully the people in the community would look at it the right way, because truly when they voted from their heart. But I don't think they understood what they was actually voting for. So,
A lot of them didn't.
the ones that I spoke to really didn't understand what came behind it or the reason why, it was there, or the work that was put in it for it to take place. So a lot of them just didn't know. They wasn't educated.
A lot of good facts and a lot of good information, but we need to hone in and decide on which direction we're going to go tonight.
Just for clarification, the attorney did respond to say that his fee for the initial evaluation would be $2,500. So it'd be a political science, $10,000 more or less, and then the attorney $2,500 more or less.
12.5 to determine where we are. Yeah.
More or less for if you wanted to go to the next step.
And that next step then would tell us, if the political science piece of it believes if it's still warranted or not.
To pursue, yes, exactly.
That's a better number than 30,000. If that's the case, I'm going to kind of lean towards Commissioner Turner as well. The voters spoke that. If we can get that analysis done for that amount of money, then they deserve that, I think.
Ms. Davis, what do you think we can handle? 12,500. Do you have some pixie dust money anywhere that can cover that?
Most of it's political science, not attorney time, so I don't want to.
Can can I make another suggestion?
Please do.
Before we make a decision on this item, can we just, essentially, I don't want to kill conversation to make a motion to table, but could we say time certain November or time certain December, give you all time to give us a little bit more of an analysis? If that's not too difficult, Mark, I mean, if I think that fact could probably turn that out for us rather quickly. You know, are there 7 counties? Are there 5 counties? Where's the genesis? How'd that go? Give us another overview of how we've gotten to where we are. I think all 5 of us understand that. But still give us the ability to say, this is what happened in 1991. This is why suit was filed. We actually settled prior to going, through with the process. Glades County, for that matter, was in the same lawsuit, did not settle, and they have the other side of this conversation. I think that I'd like to have some of those details. And then, Mark, if that you just said the attorney emailed you back, if you could show us on the schedule of, once again, time frame. If we had 12-5, now that pushes it to this much more of a level. Then you harden up the costs associated with the political scientist. Is the political scientist and Mr. Spellman, are they saying that's just about something that they anticipate it's a given and that will occur? And then they could even harden that up if that's 30 or potentially going to rise. Commissioner Harris said 30 to 40,000. Is that true? I mean, is it possibly going to go, or is that a number not to exceed that includes that in there?
Why don't we let him, see if he can bring it back in November?
That'd give Ms. Davis time to
Well, the only thing
hopefully identify some funds.
Commissioner Harris, not to belabor it, because I did throw that out there, but we only have one meeting in November, right?
The early one, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it would be
First
quick.
meeting,
How about the first meeting in December?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
What time do you think you could handle that?
That's okay.
November?
December.
Yes,
December's
sir.
good?
You think that's fine, Mark?
Okay.
And then I think in the interim, I do think that we should ask a handful of constituents and, put it out there. I don't know if y'all have a medium for putting that, any questions like that, and know what are people saying about it. I know y'all have said you've heard the opposite on it. I've heard an overwhelming majority of people say they want it countywide. So.
Okay.
Public media is a good tool. That'd be a good place to kind of reach out and just get the general consensus from everyone.
Sure. Okay. We don't need to vote on that, right? That's just a direction. Okay. Is everybody good with that? Wait until December, getting further information?
Yep.
Very good. Okay. You got more stuff there, Attorney Matt?
That's the emergency contracts. There were 2 at the time I wrote the staff report, the license agreement with the health department to utilize the special district building, and then the license agreement being to utilize the EOC for disaster counseling with residents. There's those 2, and then there's a third one that's happened since I wrote this up. The license agreement with the United States Sugar Corporation to use the old airport for hurricane debris, disaster debris management.
Can we make those all one?
One motion can ratify all 3.
Sure.
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any discussion or questions?
Yes, sir. If American Red Cross or somebody's wanting to set up, or FEMA's wanting to set up, I think FEMA's already in the Pioneer Community Center. Do y'all have to have an agreement with that?
We're not
What's-
necessarily required.
Okay.
FEMA sent us
Okay.
the one
Okay.
for them to be at the EOC. They sent it to us and they're like, okay,
Okay.
we'll do it.
All right.
For other kind of, I don't know if we've had any other scenarios where we just let somebody come.
The unique characteristics of having it plugged into the EOC was very literally, they're on our property, they're plugging into our network, they're pulling some of our utilities off. There was a symbiote relationship happening between our facility and their facility. With them being a Pioneer, it's more of a remote location. They're not hardwiring in. There's less points of contact or less points of failure. So
And this was on their
they
request.
requested it.
Okay.
We did not require it.
All right.
Okay. Good. Any further questions? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Yes.
If I might, we do have a clarification item that we'd like to bring to your attention in light of the Red Cross closing the shelter in LaBelle. Ms. Margaret Ambridge has done some analysis to the prior approval that you gave at the last meeting to use some of her affordable housing fund left over for the positions for first and last month's rent for those folks that have lost their homes or need a new place to go.
Right.
She has a different analysis that she'd like to bring to your general approval so we can
Okay.
Commissioners, based on the disposition of the folks in the shelter, I'm sure you're aware that it was closed last evening, and we have found that there are some folks that may need monetary assistance for motel rents. Some of them have received money that they can use, and some folks have not received any FEMA dollars or assistance elsewise, and we wanted to have the option to be able to assist folks in any extended motel stays, because right now some of them only have coverage for maybe 3 nights. I don't see this as being a large amount, and quite honestly, I think we'll find that we will stay well within the dollars that we had allocated and the dollars in the fund as well. So I just wanted to make sure that you agreed with us being able to use those dollars in that way.
Okay. And we've already given her direction and okay to do it, right? You just want to make sure that we know you're extending it to another.
Precisely, that it's now including hotel, motel, and their interim to get them up on their feet.
Okay.
To more permanent or temporary housing, whichever comes first beyond the stopgap measure that's
Yep.
currently.
Any questions, discussion from the board?
You had 4? 3 or 4?
3 or 4.
How many looking for houses?
Well, right now we have, everybody is in temporary housing or permanent housing, but we had, actually things changed by the hour. The last report I got is that we have actually one that we're specifically working with that we'll be getting into Mira Verde next week, and they're going to need some assistance. We also know of, at least one person that's actually folks that are staying in somebody else's home until they get things squared away with FEMA. Those folks, we don't know who's out there. I'm just going to say that may need this interim help, and because of understanding that could be the case, we wanted to make sure that we were able to help them.
Okay.
I don't know.
Thank
If that makes sense.
Good. It does, absolutely.
But
Thank you.
you said the number's changing daily?
As far as what folks need,
No, ma'am, the
Where they are?
number of people.
They keep
Yes.
coming out. They keep coming up and saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, you'll help? Yeah, we need help."
there's folks that just this afternoon, instead of staying in the Port Lavelle Inn, they have found a trailer to rent in Glades County. So they've found, I'll call it permanent housing. So those are the kinds of things that are just happening, on a regular basis that,
And so somebody found a trailer in Glades County,
yes,
and we're going to help facilitate them standing up on first and last, or
not there. We're not
No.
even touching that.
Okay.
We don't need to help them. They have found permanent housing. They moved out of the inn, and we don't need to assist them. They have enough dollars from FEMA to be able to carry themselves.
Understood. Okay. All right. I just worry. I know that y'all have a solid understanding of the volume of people out there, and I know that y'all also have a finite number of resources, and I just don't want people to game it. That's
Yeah,
it.
right.
And I don't know how you monitor that, and I know it's very difficult.
Well, it may seem that way, but we are coordinating with United Way, American Red Cross, and the FEMA. We know pretty much what these folks have been given already,
Yes, ma'am.
and we're looking at that as being their first line of dollars to spend. And we just wanted to be able to pick up the slack if there was a need.
What's the volume of people you think still in county that are in temporary housing because their home was destroyed and made non-livable by Hurricane Irma? Rough estimate.
I would be throwing a dart at the board, but
Feel
I
free.
will tell you, to give you an idea, that we do have 11 families that have been approved for a temporary trailer from FEMA that will be moving into the county so that they have some place to stay until they can then move on to more permanent situation. But beyond that, I'd be pulling it out of the air.
And so those 11 families, or 11, it's 11 people, it's not 11, or it's 11 families.
I'm calling it 11 families because I'm presuming that
I got you.
they're families.
And so we don't feel that there's 11 units out there. I mean, y'all have not been able to exercise and say, hey, such and such realtor, do you have 3 units available or 7?
We have
Scoured the planet.
scoured, yes, and,
Okay.
and, it's pretty slim.
Yes,
Where,
ma'am.
where will you be putting the 11 trailers?
They will be located in where there's existing paths and utilities. So
Okay.
we're not going to create a campus.
Okay.
It's just going to go where there's a vacant pad, somebody's, proving it. They will be required to obtain permits from the county, so we make sure that they're properly cited. And it'll be, I'll just say that it'll be well organized and implemented.
Okay.
One thing to add and note, Commissioners, is that this is a temporary situation. We're talking a time frame of 18 months that this agreement will be between the family and FEMA for this situation. So we're not looking at creating a campus. We're not looking at making an incongruent use. We're not looking at putting trailer parks in site-built home subdivisions. This is very specific and very rigid of what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
You got an empty part right by your office there.
We do, and the owner has offered several pads for them to use. So.
Okay.
Good.
It's empty
Good.
right now.
Okay.
Anything else?
Very good. No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else to add there, Mr. Chapman? Next thing on the agenda is a hearing of the public. Yes, sir.
Ratification of the local extension of the local states of emergency.
Oh, I thought we wrapped all them in. We did not wrap them in. Okay.
Emergency contracts.
I'm sorry. Okay, we'll go to number 3 then. Ratification of extension of local state of emergencies.
Right, and at the time I did the write-up, you had done the 4th extension, which took us till a half hour ago. But then earlier today, you did the 5th one, so we're asking the board to ratify the 4th and the 5th extensions. The 5th one takes us through 5 p.m.
Next Tuesday.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Okay.
And I have a bunch of additions, but we can take those under agenda additions if you like.
Yes, sir, they're under, that's where they are on mine. Okay, next thing that I have is hearing of the public. And I do have one public comment card from Odessa York, I believe. Is that correct? Okay, feel free to come up, please. And it says you want to discuss housing and health and more. Is that correct?
Yes, there it is. This is a police report from my neighbor, and it doesn't involve anything concerning me. I didn't do anything, it was him. And I have pictures here. Okay, first of all, let me explain to you. I live on Sassy Road in Ridgedale subdivision. Next to me, I have a neighbor. I've tried to be a good neighbor, but my patience had ran out. Y'all were elected to try and do something about the problems that we have out there so that it doesn't become a trash pile. I have pictures here, if anyone wants to see them. My neighbor, if you sit on my porch at night and the wind's blowing the correct way, you would rather go inside for the smell because of sewage. Okay, it's a one-family dwelling. The woman that filled out the report, she is not supposed to live there because she's not part of the family, but she filled out the report, and I asked her if she lived there. She says, yes, I do. I rent a room from him. And so this is what me and a lot of the other neighbors are trying to clean up. Now, we elected all of you in good faith.
So hopefully y'all can do something about it. And I'm trusting that this will be taken care of. I know that people have gone by and looked, but they do it in their trucks, their cars. They don't bother to stop, get out, walk around and look. He has got the mobile all chopped up inside, rented out rooms. He has an old houseboat that he's nailed together, and he's renting that out. Like I said, I've got pictures. I would just like for somebody to try and do something about this. I mean, the time to look and check this out is not 9 to 5. Believe me, because most of them, they're not going to come home until after dark. I mean, they're not totally ignorant. But anyway, that is my complaint.
Okay.
And I just pray that somebody can take care of it.
Okay, can we, we'll need to speak to you offline to get a little more information, some address and stuff like that. Is that okay?
Sure.
And Ms. Embledge probably be the one that I would ask you to speak with.
Would you like this? It's got my name and everything on it.
I'm going to ask you to speak with Ms. Embledge, and she'll get everything she needs from you.
Take care of it.
And we will do our best to get some action to make yours and the rest of the neighbors safe and secure.
I would appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Short.
Are there any other members of the public wish to address the board at this time? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move into agenda additions. First one is 2017 fall grant application for Mr. Newhouse. Everyone have a chance to look at that? Is anyone here?
The S3 application?
This is the operating 8911 grant that we fill out every single year. It requires the chairman's signature because of the way it's been written and structured.
Okay.
Given the policy you had at the previous meeting, that will be amended for next year. This is the last time you should have to deal with this. There's no match. It's a general operating grant and it's standard.
Okay. Any further questions?
Move to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Ms. Hunter is going to get to make a presentation to us tonight. She's going to talk to us about approving payment for the Hendry County Tourist Development Council expense.
You got 3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right, here we go. The chair, members of the board, for the record, Emily Hunter, Community Media and Tourism Coordinator. I am looking to have y'all approve payment of the Hendry County Tourist Development Council expenses. This is a grant that was approved by the TDC board before I came on. It was a River's Edge Motel Memorial Day weekend event. We have all the papers that they did what we asked them to. It's a matching grant for $3,000.
Okay.
Just the River's Edge, that's the only one you're asking for us to
Yes,
approve?
sir.
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Wills. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
Did they have a big turnout? How did the tournament go, you know?
It did. Good.
How many participants did they have?
They had, I want to say that they had 250. They had a fishing tournament with about 250.
Wow.
That's right.
It's a lot.
Straight.
Wow.
There's no way they had 200.
And it was
No, it was off and on.
Maybe total people.
Yeah,
it was their first year.
If they had 250 anglers, Raymond Iglesias needs to go take notes.
He's on the wrong river.
He's on the river, yeah.
I can't compete with Raymond.
Total population, probably. Yeah.
That was
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Good.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter.
Mr. Parker, you need to discuss anything special about the extension of the Everglades lease amendment with Skydive?
Would just ask you to approve it as staff recommended, for an additional 120 days for AIA to complete negotiations with the Hornsbys.
Okay. Is there any question or discussion? Seeing none?
Yes.
It's a little bit more than 120. February 13th was like 104 days.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's just
I just, I see that Lily's in here on behalf of Fred Ford, AIA. Shane, I just asked that you bear in mind when you're talking with Everglades that this is a tenant that's been there forever. To say they've been a good tenant doesn't give them nearly the credit that they deserve. And I think that, if this were my business, I'd be wanting to shore this up and know where I'm going to be for years to come, not a few years, not 120 days. So we could just be mindful of that and try to get this thing solid, done, dealt with, and over, so that the Hornsby's and Skydive Air Adventures or Skydive Spaceland or whatever they're called now knows where their home's going to be.
Understood. We will push AIA to the greatest extent we have possible to
Thank you.
finish up negotiations so that we may be we need to review the negotiations too, the final, what they decide.
And we more than likely will see this sooner than 120. I think he just gave the 124 for cushion, right? Yes.
Just so we're clear with the board, there's AIA's discussions with the Hornsby's. That lease then goes to staff for review, and then I believe FAA also has to review the lease.
Typically, we send FAA.
Okay.
Then they come back to the board for final approval.
You'll have FDOT review it simultaneously, so it'll all be good.
Yes.
Move to
Okay.
accept.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Byrd. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Attorney Lapp?
Yes, a few additions here that I sent to you last night. First one is we have two draft interlocal agreements, one with Fort Lauderdale Community Development District, the other with Central County Water Control District. These are similar to the ones that you ratified for the cities for debris removal. Where the county's contractor would do the work, contractors, both the removal contractor and the monitoring contractor. And we would submit to FEMA for reimbursement, and the CDD or the Water Control District would be responsible for whatever's not covered by FEMA.
Okay. Is there a motion to this effect?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
How is the monitoring process? How much more work are we putting on the backs of Shane and his staff by taking this underway? Shane, if you don't mind, take me through a typical day. You have contractor X that wants to pick up debris. How does that contractor reach out to the county? What is that person? I would assume the county doesn't have any contact with them, but I don't know. How does that all play out?
We don't hire the contractors. You already got a contractor hired. That's Ashbridge.
So-
Ashbridge is the prime contractor.
Yes.
They do have a first-tier contractor, it's what I call them, Wary Truck Lines.
Yep.
They have brought in some of their own contractors, which do not work for Wary. They just moved some in, I believe, from Collier County. I think there's one coming from North Carolina. But they work for Ashbridge.
So they work for Ashbridge.
If somebody comes in,
Go ahead.
somebody comes in and wants to get on the bandwagon picking up debris, if they stop by my office or they reach to another county department, an email comes to my office to copy me, Steve, Kelly, or Tommy, somebody, get funneled. We send that to Ashbridge. It goes on a spreadsheet. Says, here's a list of a possible vendor. Contact them. And they'll go down, they'll talk to them, and then if they have a need for them, they'll talk to the monitor, and they got to give the monitor like 24 hours notice that, hey, we want to bring this vendor online. He has this many loading devices. We need one monitor per loader, not per trailer. And then they get a device, they get a monitor, they have them there, they measure the trucks, and they go out and pick up debris. My office, Stephen McCormick, prepares the maps. I have different people in my office run maps around saying, here's a map of US 27 from the city line to Flaghole Road. Here's all the county roads. This is what you're picking up. Here's a map of Flaghole back through Pinecone to 833. This is another section.
So you give said map to contractor X?
Give it
No,
to
you give it to Ashbridge.
I give it to Ashbridge, and I give them like 5 or 6 copies.
Okay.
I have one of my staff do that. And then along the way, they'll lose a map. We'll give them more maps or whatever, and they'll work in that area, particular area. If with Montura coming on board, we'll give a map of Montura showing all the roads, and we'll sit down and talk to Ashbridge, and we'll map off quadrants and say, here's a quadrant. We'll get with Central County and say, what's your priority areas you want picked first? What do you want cleaned first?
We'll get with Central County, or Ashbridge will get with Central?
We get with Central County. That's what we did with the cities. City of Clueston, what's your priority list? City of LaBelle, what's yours? You got a second tier, or do you care where we go after that?
That's how he creates the maps, and he gives them maps that here's the priority map. You get these.
Well, we'll have a map of all the roads, but
It's
we'll
a
give
map
them an
of all
email
of the easements
that
and everything,
says,
and this is where it is, and then the map gets that language added to it to say this is where we want you to go.
No, the map will show all the roads that
The map will
belong
show
to that,
everything.
and you'll get an email saying, here's the roads we want you to go first.
They prioritize it.
Exactly. And then, when that's done, they may say, go anywhere you want to after that. And we'll say, okay, we'll work in this quadrant over here and clean up this neighborhood. Sometimes if there's a priority, we'll have, like Montura, more than likely be busted up in different quadrants. So Ms. Hester will tell us where her priorities would be. Contractor working over in Zone 1 will do said road priority here. Contractor in Zone 2, it may be a couple sections, it may only be one section. Port LaBelle, we were talking to the Port LaBelle, we were talking about Port LaBelle yesterday, and for the county roads, I said, you only need one contractor for the county roads. There's not that much debris on it. Don't divide it and split it in two. But with the CDD roads, there's probably more. They'll have to ride around and look, and they might give it to one contractor. They might say, east half of Port LaBelle go one way, west half will go the other way. Or it
So
might be
is this-
north of Cowboy Way, south of Cowboy Way.
Is this going to increase the estimate that y'all
Yeah, it's
No.
sent out to us
Is
today?
that still within the 250,000?
It is, because it's based on, what they do is it's based countywide.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you, they have a road, every road in the county, it's based on what they've been seeing.
Okay. They've extrapolated what the number thinks.
Right, it
is.
started off 700, 500 to 750,000, then it went to 400,000. There was an Army Corps model, then
So-
wind speed, and
And so two things come to mind. One is that the numbers we've seen was roughly 10,000 yards yesterday got picked up, right?
yes.
And so worst case scenario, you're still 2 weeks off maybe?
We're 30, I think it was, I don't have it with me, but it was like 30-something% of their estimated debris was picked up.
Right.
Like-
But the numbers have ramped up exponentially.
They have ramped up, because they brought more people online.
That's right. And
as
so
we
that
expected.
those days have got to absolutely be getting smaller and smaller. We got to be between 2 and 3 weeks
So,
out.
like, they're
No.
estimating,
Is there a
If you
deadline?
do the math.
is there a
Is there a
deadline?
deadline that they're gonna stop picking up? I do know that you was going out, trying to see where they missed, because they missed some areas in Harlem.
Right.
But is there a deadline that they can put something on the side of the road?
We'd like them to do it as soon as possible, but they got to keep it separated. The contractors, we're getting a lot of complaints. Well, they didn't pick up my woody debris. Well, they didn't pick it up because you put a swing set in it. You put regular household trash. They're not picking that up because
Right.
it's blow and go mode. They're picking
Right.
up and they're moving, because right now we're getting woody debris. There'll be another pass come through for large bulk debris of woody debris where they can't get with a grapple hook or a skid steer. It's just too big, be a front end loader. Then there'll be another pass for C&D that's out there.
So and then the follow-up question that I had dealing with the numbers and adding, as we add different sectors to it, the further we get out, the least, the amount of reimbursement is going to decline. Is that correct? Do we have any definitive answers on that yet?
We don't have a definitive answer. We do know that the 90-10 split ends today for the first 30 days from landfall. However, there is still continuing conversation with the Executive Office of the Governor to continue that on for another 30 days to allow for more pickup to happen. Lee County is one of the biggest advocates for that. They're so far behind, it's not even funny. I believe Charlotte County is also at the table with that, as well as several others. So Senator Nelson, Senator Rubio are both making that appeal. I know Representative Marina Diaz-Balart, Mayor Gardner actually made that call personally to that office. There's a lot of pressure being put on both the governor's office and and FEMA to get this extended 90-10 for another 30 days.
Another 30. That'd put us in there.
This is about the sweet spot. So
Right.
that's
Yeah, we could wrap it up under with the 90% reimbursement.
With the numbers fluctuating that they are, they continue to go down. I know they said 250,000. We've not heard one way or the other. I'm thinking we're getting close to that number.
Yeah.
And averaging it out earlier today, and of course this is a wag, but we're looking probably 6 weeks for total.
And once again, we go back to the situation that this is a county issue. It's not a district issue. It's not their issue. It's a county issue. We need to be taking care of our taxpayers. I understand it's going to be a little more work, but the fact still remains. There's people that live on private roads. I've gotten calls all day long because the private roads haven't been picked up.
And
But they're working on that.
But so that was going to be my final question after that.
Now,
So what have you heard, Commissioner Wills? What is our feedback that we're getting on private roads? And then I'll go back.
Well, the feedback is they're not getting touched. They're being
I know,
bypassed.
but what are we being told?
That's what I asked today, and I was waiting for an update to what we found out.
Just got to answer two questions that you asked earlier, and then I'll
Yes.
hit that one.
Okay.
Commissioner Byrd, we are making another pass. I don't know when that pass is going to be. You know, if they got it, we encourage them to put it out and separate it out. But we will have to make another pass. There's some neighborhoods where there's so much, especially in North LaBelle. It got to the road, they ran out of road right away. The oak trees are just down everywhere. I want to give a recap on the neighborhoods just real quick. North LaBelle, pretty much the first pass is completed. That's that top hat notch. They're working in Fort Denote Acres. They're in South LaBelle. South LaBelle that's around Davis Pratt. That's probably 80% picked up on the first path. I would say the southwest quadrant of Port LaBelle, they may be 30% into it. Northwest quadrant, they're probably 80%. LaBelle, sorry. And I'm using 80-29 as my intersection point for LaBelle. Northeast corner is probably maybe 40, and then the southeast corner maybe 40. We have Harlem, I would say 99
40% picked up.
Picked up first pass.
Okay.
And I'm leaving out large
No, I
trunks
understand.
and stuff like that. I'd say Harlem is 98, 99
I
down.
did
They've
go
already
behind you after we spoke, and the ones that I saw that had not been picked up, I explained to them they had to separate it. So they most of them have done that. So they
Exactly.
do understand that there's another.
There will be another pass. And they did miss one or two piles that I've personally seen that I observed. But for all intents and purposes, Harlem's completed. I'd say Hooker's Point is probably 50 to 60%. They're on John and Red Road. They did our priority list. There's a contractor started in Port LaBelle. And then we got one was supposed to, we were in the alphabet roads. Case, Evans are working on that today. And A and B's done. They still haven't hit the lower alphabets, and they got to go to Felda. So we're making progress. Contractor's supposed to start soon. Go down 27, work to Flaghold.
What about the Belmont area?
Belmont,
City of
there's a
LaBelle.
contractor in that's already been. That's probably, I imagine, 30%. They're in Belmont on the south end. They did South Hall.
That's kind of a high number, I think.
Might be. I got based on my map, looking where they're at. They haven't touched the southern southeast portion where Ford Park and
Fortune Park,
Pinewood.
that's gonna be
They
the
haven't
next
hit that
question.
yet, but
Right.
they're in Belmont, working on the south end, going north. They did hit Hall Street, but the one that's the quadrant most picked up is northwest corner by the schoolhouse.
Yeah, well, that's the areas that need to be picked up first. I mean, the reality is children's there, and we need to make sure safety issues. But
They got the last one today.
I was in Belmont today and around those areas, and Fortune Park as well, and those areas. I didn't see a contractor. Maybe I missed him, but that's the reason I'm asking those questions. So.
They're running. You get there at 6, just before 7. They're running nonstop back and forth.
They got up to Grove today, all that area, around up to Grove.
And then in regards to quantity, the quantity, as I said earlier, was an estimate. So that quantity of cubic yards already includes Montura and
Okay.
Port LaBelle.
It's
But
not
they
gonna extend their
haven't
days
drove
then.
it. They got to go through and look at it, and the numbers get refined. I asked them again the other day, are you still pretty confident? And they go, yes, we're still pretty sure on the 250.
Okay.
Private roads. Private roads, they are being avoided being picked up right now. I'm not going to lie.
Ms. York?
And the reason being,
She went out one more.
the reason being is because we want to maximize our reimbursement. And right now, if we don't get pre-approval from FEMA, we won't get reimbursed. Do I agree they have to be picked up? I think they should be picked up. But right now, you don't need to pick them up when you're not going to get reimbursed. You need to concentrate on the areas you know you're going to be reimbursed on. We are going through the process of obtaining FEMA approval. We met with them last week with FEMA, myself, my staff, Brian Newhouse from Emergency Management. We scheduled another meeting that was supposed to take place earlier this morning, got pushed back to later this afternoon, got canceled due to, I guess, the meeting running longer in Fort Myers. We got a meeting trying to get set up for this Thursday. I wrote a letter as County Engineer and Mosquito Control Director in support of doing it. Dr. Pepe has prepared a letter and sent that to me today. My office staff, Stephen McCormick's preparing maps, identify all the private roads based on subdivisions, unplatted areas, subdivisions as in gated, not gated, such as off Captain Henry, such as Riverbend where it is gated.
Everything is irrelevant. You're trying to get it over.
We got color-coded maps saying here it is, there it is, and that's going to be the attachment, and we want to give that to them and say, okay, what else do you need from us to be able to get pre-approval to pick this up? And if they don't get pre-approval, then we're going to come back and say, okay, they said no, board, we need direction to go move
Well,
it up.
Our taxpayers, and the fact still remains that if they come back and say no, it needs to be picked up.
well, we,
So,
when
I mean,
they
this-
call
you
me,
can't discriminate there.
when they call me, I tell them we're gonna pick it up, but I can't tell you when.
Well, I'm telling them the same thing, but the reality is, we don't want to put them 3 months out.
No.
But now wind's got
Once
to
again,
start.
we got to go on the.
They're getting close right now.
Yes, I
But
think
can't-
that wind is going to stop being wind, and it will occur on.
Exactly.
Because
That's what I'm saying.
they're
Still probably a couple
satisfied.
weeks out from that, but
Long,
still.
yeah, as long as they know it's gonna get picked up, they're satisfied.
Well, can we go ahead and pre-approve it now so he wouldn't have to come back to the board?
Well, we gotta get FEMA pre-approved.
I mean,
No,
I'm
we don't
assuming
have to.
you can go ahead and
We need
vote
to know
on
what
it
she
now.
just said.
You
If we,
can,
that way he wouldn't have to come back to the board and they can already.
And we're holding it up.
There you go.
I agree completely,
I agree
Commissioner
with that as
Burke.
well.
Because it's irrelevant. I do not
It's
want to
gonna
get caught up
happen,
in this.
so-
We got to wait on reimbursement discussion. I'm not mad at y'all. I'm not upset. I'm just saying I don't want that to be the excuse of why we haven't picked up X person. We all agree, and we got money sitting in hurricane disaster relief. It's not going to be it's not going to be this astronomical number.
Yeah.
It's a number that we can handle, but our people have gotten whacked, and we need to remove all excuses, and we need to be able to say to said constituent.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm saying, I think that in 14 days, maybe 20 days, Shane and his staff are going to have a solid idea of, we will be to you first week in December. I don't think it's going to be that long, but I agree completely with you, Commissioner Byrd, that we need to say,
So
staff, please don't make that a reason why we can't get
Well,
to it.
and I don't mean wait on FEMA to get it done. I mean,
Yeah.
let's do the diligence of making sure
100%.
that we get our reimbursement stuff done first. We don't put that to the end and not get that. And,
I don't
and
disagree
So we'll
with you,
get it
Mr.
picked
Chairman.
up, but let's make sure we fiduciary do what's
So
correct there.
let's put it in a form of a motion. I'll make a
I
motion.
still
I
have
don't
more
think we have to.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you do.
Do we do?
Yeah.
But ultimately, FEMA's gonna want that from you
Right.
all.
Um,
Yeah, FEMA's more stressed than Mark is about
Yes.
doing it correctly.
So anyway, I'll make a motion that we pick up all private roads.
And I second it.
Okay.
And I would ask that your decision to do that, or your decision to do that is based upon that it's necessary for the public health, safety, and welfare to do that.
If that's what you want to say.
Okay. That's how I heard. The motion was to pick up public roads because it's necessary for public health, safety, and welfare. And it was seconded by Commissioner Byrd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that gives Shane the gear to go.
Just get it all done. You work out the timing. Is there any further
Right.
discussion?
Yes.
Well, on that
Yes.
motion?
No.
Okay, let's finish that motion if we can. Let's get it out of the way.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
can I ask for clarification?
Yes.
Can that be after we pick up everything that we know is
That's
reimbursed?
Then you have to, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You have to make
Yes.
sure you pick up the
Just
stuff
long
we
as
know
it's
we're gonna
get
get
picked-
reimbursed.
And we
for.
understand that, we
Yeah.
just don't want you to have to come back to the board
fine.
to.
Nope, that's what I'm looking for.
Judy.
Okay.
Judy wants to speak.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman and board members, I'm a little confused. The vote that just occurred, does that include special districts?
Countywide, Ms. Kennedy-Corf.
Again,
I'm confused by just that, but I understood it to be the private roads.
No. Then I'll make an amendment to the motion. If there is debris on the side of a road in Henry County, we need to pick it up. Does anybody disagree with
I
that?
thought that's what the motion was.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, that's what the motion.
Because
On
now we're
private
fixing to get
roads.
into private roads.
Because it was either
equals
public-
a 298 versus a 290. I don't want to have her get hammered because there's a road that's out
Yeah.
here in the middle of we don't know where.
Well, we're doing
and
public now,
we don't
right?
have access to it.
We're doing public roads now.
No,
I'm
no.
not against what
So
you're
here we
doing.
go.
So
Look, this is going to be
let's do
great.
the other.
Go ahead. Tell us why it can't happen.
And I'm going to tell you what you've already done. You've already done interlocal agreements with those cities.
Yes.
Okay.
To do the pickup in the cities, and those interlocal agreements provide that whatever is not covered, we're initially fronting the cost, and we're seeking FEMA reimbursement. But whatever FEMA doesn't cover, the cities pay the balance, and we are not stuck with any of the excess not covered by FEMA within the cities.
Hold on one second. I have to process what you just said. So what the cities don't have covered.
Non-reimbursable.
No.
Not reimbursed by
Right.
FEMA, but picked up, and we paid, the cities have to reimburse us out of their funds so that we're.
Okay, so I represent the city of Clewiston, and the monitor said that the road X
Or a percent.
or
If
percent
that-
thereof.
It might not be covered. One is,
Yeah.
they have to pay 10 or 25% anyway.
Okay.
The that's just a cost share.
All right.
Or an appropriate pickup.
Yes.
Have to have a cost share. And then there's declined, unauthorized pickups. We hope there's none of those, but FEMA may tell us months from now, you should know you went too far and you extended into private property, or you, I don't even know, but they
Okay.
Yeah, the
declined
church parking lot.
something. And then
Great
that's 100% declined, and so that aspect is not reimbursed at all by FEMA,
Okay.
and then we've already fronted it.
All right, well-
The city needs to pay us back because we fronted it. That's what our two interlocal agreements with the cities
Well,
both say.
what they should do is just not pick it up.
No,
And then, no, not pick it up, and then let them move it out where they can get it.
Okay, the monitors are trying to catch that, and so that's
But
the reason why we have
they're gonna
them.
pick
But
it
I'm
up
just
and
saying,
Push it out of the road.
there's a lot of judgment calls being made, and so we're allowing for the possibility that someone makes an incorrect judgment
But they
call.
shouldn't pick it up and then want to charge you 25%. They should just push it out.
You always are paying 25%.
You're all,
I
yeah.
thought we were gonna pay 10.
Well, no, there's, okay,
There's a lot of confusion here.
there's a lot of confusion. Yeah, we need to start it over. But so first I want to get to Ms. Kennedy Corp's question. She's at the thing.
Well, but that you need to address what I'm talking about in order to answer her question, I think.
So can I hear her question again, please?
My question is, I'm confused by your vote. If you're addressing all roads in Hendry County, which, by the way, just for the record, the CDD roads are public, and certain roads in the Port LaBelle CDD are county roads, and certain roads are CDD roads. My question is, if you're providing service to all county residents, is the CDD in Central County included in that?
I would say, Mr. Chair, I'd like to take a stab at it. To the reimbursable rate, yes. So if FEMA gives us 90 cents on the dollar to pick up all CDD roads, all Central County roads, every road that's out there that we touch, then you would owe us 10 cents on that dollar. If they only give us 75 cents, you're going to owe us 25 cents. But in my impression, we would service every road that is in your jurisdiction, every road that is in Montura's jurisdiction, and every road that's in mid-county, so on and so forth. Fill in the blanks. I know you are a completely different animal than that, but that's what I would like to see the motion relate to. Now, if it's someone's quarter of a mile private drive that goes to their, resident and it serves one, yeah, but I honestly don't know how many roads we have that are like that.
Not many.
So first off, do you
I think there is a lot.
dislike anything that I just said to the answer to Ms. Kennedy Corp's question?
She just says it's fine, but that's
Let's clarify it.
The motion that you approved a few minutes ago, what I understood it to be, is you were authorizing staff or directing staff to proceed with the steps to collect on private roads.
That's correct.
That's correct.
So that was a private road vote, the earlier one. What I started out this discussion about was to do interlocal agreements with the Port LaBelle Community Development District and the Central County Water Control District for us to do their roads per interlocal agreement. We front the costs. We both seek FEMA reimbursement. Whatever FEMA doesn't cover, they cover. That's what these agreements provide, which is the same thing the two agreements with the cities provide.
Is that because they're a 298 and then they're a government?
They're not a 298.
No, I meant the one's a 298, isn't it?
Central County.
Central County's 298, and then theirs would be government.
Right, they're all government, but the basis is that they're government.
Yeah.
The information that we were first given was that the county could not pick up debris on the right-of-way in the CDD on roads for which they do not have a responsibility for maintenance or construction. That's the information we were initially given. So, ergo, there's no difference between that definition and private.
That's right.
But we are public in nature, Chapter 190. And if I just might add, the information we've been given by FEMA, we're a multi-jurisdiction agency operating in Glades and Hendry. The information I received today from FEMA was that we were at 90%, and the 10% is a split 5-5 state and local government. So I provide that as information. And I'll wait for your answer.
So are we 5 and 5?
we're 5, state's 5. We're hoping that's going to occur.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're hoping it's going to extend past today.
Opportunities for waivers.
Okay.
Because I think last time we didn't think nothing.
Did you have monitors
So-
last time either?
Yeah.
You did. You weren't here during.
So
You still have in front of you the 2 interlocal agreements.
okay.
So I make a motion to approve the 2 interlocal agreements as provided. Second.
And one clarification from last night, from the document I sent you last night, just to be clear, the attorney for Fort Lauderdale Community Development District asked for a revision, and I want to bring your attention to it. It's not that significant in my opinion, but you need to know about it because you know what you're approving. It changes in one of the whereas clauses where it formerly said that reimbursement would be of 75% of the cost from FEMA, and he put reimbursement would be not less than 75% of the cost from FEMA because they're hopeful that it's going to turn out to be 90. So he asked for that change, and I agree with that.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? We had a motion from Commissioner.
I don't have any further discussion on that question. I still have a couple questions for Shane.
Okay. Come up, Mr. Boyd, if you don't mind. You move the motion.
Made the motion.
You second it.
As far as the wording that they adopted, the change were up to 75%, was that changed on the central county one also?
I didn't. I mean, they didn't ask, and I can do it if you want to have that same change made. We can do that.
Do you represent Central County as well?
Yeah, I'm the treasurer of Central County. So I would just like to give him the authority to change, just make those same changes for Central County where everybody's in the same field.
Okay. Do we need to restructure the motion, or are you okay with those changes?
I'm going to amend my motion to reflect the language.
Right, and the...
Will you amend your second?
This was all evolving yesterday afternoon, okay? So I was preparing these agreements.
Oh,
and
you're
sending
good,
them to
Mark.
each of the attorneys, and their attorney didn't give me any request for changes. The CDD attorney had other changes, which he requested, which I haven't even brought up to you, but they're in the document that you saw. So I brought them up separately because they were in there. So I don't know. They may want to see. I'm okay with the CDD document. So if they want to have the exact same document the CDD got, I think that's fair.
Okay.
And
And I think that's what you're asking for, correct?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay. Fair enough. We've got the mover of the motion has reflected that he's okay with that amendment, and the second as well.
Correct.
Any further discussion? It was moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion passes. Okay. Did we totally put that to bed? I feel like there's still some ambiguity there, a lot.
I have a lot of questions.
Okay, all right.
So,
Okay.
Commissioner Wills, the question that you had, did it get answered?
Yes, we're going to wait for the feedback from FEMA. The question I had was, are we going to pick up the county roads? But as you said earlier, I would like to see that it's not going to be a drawn-out thing. You know as well as I do, FEMA sometimes can be a year or 2 years in the making. I don't want the debris sitting on the road that long. These neighborhoods is setting in, have kids in them, and it just needs to be picked up. So
We're not planning on drawing it out. We've been working right with FEMA the whole time, getting all our ducks in a row. We got plenty to pick up before we even get to those neighborhoods of where we know that we get reimbursed. There's just a bunch out there.
Well, I understand that. The only thing is, it looks like to me the cost, once you're in an area, it'd be better just to finish the area. So if we could get them to complete that rather than driving all the way back across town to finish an area that we already drove through.
It doesn't cost us anymore. It's still whatever they're charging per. We pay the same cubic yard pass.
No, I understand.
So it's on them, not us. So you're not paying any more.
I'm not worried about paying right now. My point is, I want to get the debris picked up. That's my point.
We're working on it.
But some of that was because of priorities.
Well, the priority, if you're in that area, you're in an area working.
It's road priorities. We pay the same within so many miles. They pay the same. Right. So if you're in North LaBelle and we know we're going to get reimbursed, we're not going to go down Pollard Point yet. We're going to do what we know we can get 90-10 for, and we're going to get it done, get out, move to another neighborhood, mark where it is that we can't go, work at the same time trying to get FEMA reimbursement. And if they say no, jump back over and get it. Because we have people going back to neighborhoods where people put more out, where we're getting ready to pave, that we had them go pick up. It costs us the same.
Well, they're okay when you tell them you're going to get it.
Yeah, I've told a lot of people we're going to get it. It's just We don't know the exact date.
Right.
We can't lie to you.
Yep, yep.
And I understand what you're saying, because they're in the area, if you're gonna clean it all up. But like you said, they had to prioritize it, so they can't do it like that.
No, I get it.
Still don't make sense,
I
but
get it.
I agree
And
with
the
you.
reality
but-
is, like I said, my whole thing is, I don't want to sit in there another month
Yeah.
and it's
just
still
because
there.
we're waiting on FEMA. That's ridiculous. I understand, I get it. But my point is, once again, it needs to be picked up.
Yeah, in that same
Mr.
area,
Chair?
you go
Yes,
right
sir.
back to it.
I've asked this a couple times, and I know it's a day-to-day operation, so it's irrelevant. But do y'all disagree? I'd like to ask staff, and y'all may have done this on Facebook. I don't know if you have, but could we not get a page in the two papers expressing to the public, Shane, what you were saying about they're going to make a second pass, C and D being. A lot of people don't know what C and D stands for. We get acronymized up. They don't understand, man. You're saying put the swing set. I mean, you can drive down Hooters Point Road now, and there's a swing set that's literally. I had to move it this morning. It was 4 inches on the road, and it's on top of a whole bunch of horticulture debris. But I don't know what horticulture means. I just say tree blew down, put it on the side of the road. We're gonna pick it up. And I'm still getting people that are saying to me, Carson, do I have to cut it in 3-foot lengths or 4-foot lengths? That's off of the radar right now. Get it out to the side, and we'll pick it up. But I would love to express to the public as well that there's going to be a second pass. There may potentially be a third pass. Get everything out. And I also, I think we'll see a couple neighbors helping out a little bit more too, because people have pulled off a little bit with mobilizing their tractor or their front end loader to go move a tree because they think stuff's gone and they've missed their window, and they haven't. So I'd like for us to put that out there.
If they put anything on top of that, they go right by it.
And a picture says 1,000 words. I don't know how. And I mean, I don't know what a full page. I don't know what the back of the Calusa News costs. I really don't care. I think that's what we should do, and I think it should be the Calusa Bell and the Henry Glades. So you have people that read one and not the other, and I think that we should do that.
Just
I think that Ms. Hunter can do that, and with Charles, and y'all don't even have to think about it.
And all on all the layers of media.
Yeah.
We'll do it bilingual.
Good.
Exactly.
And then if you could go on the radio station, Charles, or have Emily go on the radio station and do, I think that would be huge again as well. And then Shane, my last question is when do you anticipate they're not going to be allowed to burn it? Are they going to incinerate on site? Are they going to grind and haul off? And what are you thinking there?
If they can get a burning permit, we'd like them to get a burning permit because I want to say, I don't remember for sure, it's like 25 to 50 cent difference on the cubic yard for managing the site. And it says debris management on site and reducing via grinding. Same exact thing, and burning is only 50 cent difference. However, the residue you pay 0 to, let's say, 10 miles, and then 10 to 20, and then 20
to dispose of residue.
Dispose of it. So it could cost you an arm and a leg to dispose of it if you had a long distance haul. But if it's ash, you have less. So if we meet the requirements for burning, we'd like to burn. And we're going to have that conversation. I had a preliminary conversation yesterday with Ashbridge. We're going to be meeting to discuss tomorrow, but they'd like to go ahead and start reducing now.
And there's only a small difference in the cost between grinding and burning?
It's like 50 cent a cubic yard.
Difference
That's between
all?
grinding and burning, yes sir, in the contract. But the disposal cost is where it gets you. It's based on miles, and it's a different mile than our pickup mile. It's a little bit longer. But
my point is, if a grinder's $250,000 and a book of matches and some diesels,
You can do that, Shane.
Mr. Chairman,
I can do
be
that.
arrested.
If you use diesel, you'll kill birds. So I don't appreciate you doing that.
Kirsten.
Lighter fluid.
Kirsten.
Okay, I'm with you.
we're trying to burn it. If
I
we
agree.
can't, and they say we can't get a permit from FWC, well, then we'll have to grind. Or it may be you can burn till a certain time, and then
Right.
you're going to have to stop, then we're going to have to switch to grinding.
Yep, lightning getting real bad this time of year too. I'd watch out for that. That starts fires.
Where'd our county administrator go? Is he okay?
He left when you started talking
Yeah.
about spontaneous fires.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I have one final comment on that. I guess I'll just wait because I really do want him to hear what I have
Okay,
to say.
then come back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further? We did vote on that. Yes. We did.
You okay, bud?
That takes us. Oh, you want to go ahead and do it now? Wade?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't like to go back to the past too much, but I couldn't stand it, and I had to go and educate myself to what I actually said in October of 2014 about this process. I want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And y'all may be tickled with how the outcome is occurring with the debris removal. I don't know. I just keep looking at, $500,000 plus or minus to the monitor, and then I don't know how many deep into six figures, potentially seven figures, we're going to be with Ashbrit, and then what that's rolling down. But the comments that were made to me were, we're going to have reputable contractors that are going to stage equipment when a storm is even formalized in the basin. And I want to work through whatever the process is for us to be able to make sure that it doesn't have to be a national recognized company that we wave their banner because they did Hurricane Katrina pickup. I don't care. Because guess what? When you drive through Harlem, Greg Westbury and WW are picking up Harlem. And when you drive through Hookers Point, Raymond Catala, Kevin Rayburn, and Rayburn Companies are picking up Hookers Point. And who's doing LaBelle?
Javier Darius.
Peg Leg. See? Peg Leg is getting after it in LaBelle. Who else?
Javier Darius.
There you go. And Ashbrit is making money off of that, and they've simply, it's the American way, I guess. There's subs that do that. I want to find out what the process is for us to be able to tear through the finite details and make sure that Henry County can own the contract and or engineering can own the contract and give it to Rayburn Companies or Ridgedale and Son or whoever.
Act as the contractor.
Act as contractor, and then they can hire their subs. I'm happy to hear Shane say that he has not had to actually reach out and call contractors or have contractors contact him, and that he's actually given that to a contact person at Ashbrit. My fear was that was not occurring, and that he was spending a tremendous amount of time, or staff was spending a tremendous amount of time talking to said contractors to make sure that they met the need of what Ashbrit was requiring. That's not our job. And so, everything like that runs the cost of operations up, and those are costs that we all talk about how we operate on finite dollars and finite resources here in the county, and I want to see that money spending internally. So, that's where I'm at on it. Obviously, we got to get through this hurricane season. But I said almost the exact same thing verbatim 2014, and for whatever reason, I sat on it. I had confidence that it would occur, that we would. I use the phrase, I want to have a roundtable discussion with those contractors, all of them.
Was it done the same way in the past?
No, ma'am. And the reasoning why it was said to me in October of 14 was that we have to abide by FEMA specifications, and there's certain things that we have to do, and we have to be cognizant of that. And that's all good. That's all fine and dandy. What I'm saying is that we have, in my opinion, we have a golden opportunity here, because the entire state, you were in Orlando, you heard every other county in the state that had themselves feeling the effects of this hurricane were having the same problem. Some are in much worse situations than what we are. Some are completely done with debris removal. And I want to make sure that we can push through this, and we can make sure that we're owning it a little bit more, and we're not waiting. Because let's just say that the governor wouldn't have done 90-10, and we hope that he still does 90-10. We're still going to be sitting there holding the bag. And to listen to Commissioner Wills say it, I'm so happy to hear all of us agree that we just get it done. That's the number one thing we want to see done. But you hear staff saying, we got to be cognizant of FEMA reimbursement. That's y'all's job. We get it, understand it, and we're so proud of y'all being so mindful of monitoring that bottom line. That's wonderful. Thank you all for the yeoman's job that you're doing on that. But at the end of the day, they ain't calling you, and they ain't calling you when you walk into Beef with Brady's. And I can guarantee you, I said I was 3 to 5 pounds lighter last time. I'm 10 to 15 pounds lighter now, and it's getting legitimate because after cable got turned on, or power got turned on, and cable got turned on, we become fickle real quick, and we want our roadways to look gorgeous again. So,
if I could just add on that, I've already started those discussions with Rice Sandrock and Charlotte County, who took a very different approach to how they took on their debris. They actually are doing it with their own public works Works department as well as the monitoring with an application they wrote themselves. I believe maybe one or two of you spoke to Commissioner Bill Truex during the conference. And so I've already started working on figuring out how did you do that, what paperwork did you file, did you have to go up to DC and talk to anybody at FEMA headquarters, what does this app look like, is it proprietary rights, is it not, what are those types of things, and then what kind of manpower are we looking at, and is there a way that we can take that disruptive technology and apply it so that I hear the commission loud and clear. We need to streamline it. We need to keep it in the family. And obviously, you all know what my frustrations are. I'm sure you've read it in the paper with the way things work with Ashbridge and Crowder Golf and all this other system. We need to do something different. We need to do it better. So I'm giving you my assurance that this is not going to be the same situation we're looking at moving into the next hurricane season, just trying to get daylight on this current situation.
Awesome.
So that would mean no contract, right?
No, there would be a
We would
contract.
probably have contracts, but it would be with different vendors, probably locals in county. And if I have to give you an answer tonight, the concept would be, could we use Public Works employees as monitors along with the subcontractors with an iPad or a smart device in hand to be able to catalog and GIS code all the different debris.
Because when all this started, they started calling me and, about, then I'd call Shane. With their biggest problem was the fee. They said, well, we can't do it for that. So
Was the what? What'd you say?
the fee.
Oh.
They said, we'll lose money.
What are they doing now? They're doing it for that.
They had other jobs.
What are they doing now, though?
No, none of them took it.
They're doing
No,
it.
but we have all private all county contractors.
Yeah.
All you have is someone leading the way. He does the paperwork. All of our in-county
Right.
are doing the work.
They're
So I
doing
agree
it.
with that 100%. We need to find out, what's required by FEMA to do that. Why not have one of our contractors here that's on the ground, has the contacts of all the same people we have, rather than have to wait on someone to get here for 2 months, 2 weeks. He's here. He's here every day. He knows the county. And I believe that's a great idea, I believe.
And then the price always has something to do with it.
Well, Commissioner Harris,
That was everybody.
Well, they're doing the work anyway, so.
So Darren, all of it to contemplate again, this is all conceptual how we move forward, but to be able to get those subcontractors lined up, there would have to be an RFQ process, all of that.
that's exactly right. But listen, I'm just going to say this. I'm glad to hear you say it like this time. That's not what you said in 2014.
I understood.
That's not what any of us said in 2014. We all found a way to not have this conversation. I think that, I said it then, I'm going to say it now. We need to look at the modeling, if it's a category 2, a category 4, a category 5, what that debris, what it looks like. And then have a very direct conversation with all of these vendors and say, guys, if we get smited and it looks like Lake Okeechobee tried to reclaim us again, are y'all going to be able to handle this volume, or do we have resources that are there? What is it going to cost to put a combo on the ground? What is it going to cost to put, it may be a D5 dozer they have to put on the ground. What is it going to cost? What are you looking at? How does that work back to a price per cubic yard? They can all run that. But Charles, I think this is something that it would build a great allegiance with our local contractors if you could have this conversation forward on them and we can get through this. And I don't know if we re-up the contract for a full year with Ashbridge, or if it goes through. I thought it was a 1 year and it was going to come back to us every year. That was my mistake. It was 3 years, and then I think it has a 1 year renewal. But I want to look at that, and I want to essentially back out of that as quickly as we can within the rules of that contract, and then have you and your staff force this conversation so that we can get a lot of gray matter in one room and know what it's going to cost. And we have a tremendous amount of equipment. Commissioner Swindle, I know you say they're doing it now, but the reality is they're not. There's a handful of people. There's not a handful. I can think of 3 contractors without even looking very hard that have resources that would have our county on the east side from Pioneer over. They would have had our county clean in 30 days. There's no doubt in my mind they would have had it clean for 30 days. In 30 days, and the reason why I know that is they had Western Palm Beach County, they had Broward, they had Miami-Dade, and they were getting it at $6.75. It wasn't an exorbitant amount of more. It was $1, $1.50 more, and I think that we could have spun some money internally a little bit. That's it. This is a good conversation. I'm looking forward to us having it. I'm looking forward to you leading the way on it, and I think that it's going to be a great learning experience for all of us, our contractors included. So.
There's going to be a lot of conversations like that. To think differently, great conversation to help think outside the box and forward thinking. Shame on us if we don't push it forward. Any further discussion? Item 5? Okay, yeah, right, those, right? Yes. Is that the one? Amendment of the contract with emergency debris? That one? Number 5. Is that the correct one?
Debris monitoring services, okay, so that's Thompson Consulting Services. That contract amendment is in front of you. It includes the FEMA required provisions, and it also includes.
Do you need us to state anything?
A not to exceed amount of $599,450,000.
You need us to say anything before we make a motion? Is there anything you want us to specifically, or you're good in it? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. Is there any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries.
And the next one is the contract, number 6, the contract amendment for disaster debris removal, which is the one with Astrid. That adds in the FEMA required provisions like the other one did. It didn't have to have a not to exceed amount because it has a per cubic yard price.
Make a motion to
already.
approve option number 1.
And just to be clear, this one, I prepared it some time ago, and I thought Charles might be signing it during an emergency, under emergency authority. You're approving it, but they already signed the page that his name on it, so you're authorizing him to sign this one.
Okay, fair enough. Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And number 7?
Yes, this is not debris related.
Not debris related.
Is this for the tax deed?
Yep. Authorization to bid a tax deed for.
555 South Zambria.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the county administrator or his designee to attend and act.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. Any discussion or questions?
You just say it's a good location for a county could use.
Yes.
Okay.
Staff already identified a 9-lot cluster, if you will, and 4 already owned by the county, and 55
Good.
Okay.
closer to having a whole site under control.
Very good. Good
Mr.
question.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you what I envision on something like this?
Please do.
I envision us reaching out to a contractor, and as Ms. Embledge is able to allocate some funds on something like that, on something like this, and we're able to build one of these coffers, she's able to have 4 site-built homes in Harlem, 4 site-built homes in Montura, and then we're able to sit with our school board and we're able to designate these towards, or we're able to sit with, whatever it may be, and say, this is for time certain, you to live here at a reduced rate, so on and so forth.
Yep.
That's just what I envision. I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition, but I hope that we can try to work towards that one day.
Good vision. Any further discussions or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Anything else before we move along to business by district? Am I missing anything? Okay. Commissioner Wills?
Once again, like I said earlier, we need to really focus on, the county as a whole and making the county whole. As far as districts and where I'm at, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of things over the past quite a few years, for better words, have been neglected. There's areas that, for drainage issues, there's road issues. These are all issues that I have in the area. I actually spoke with Shane a little bit. He's been in some of those areas. He's seen some of the issues. So in the coming year, I really hope that we can get some of these areas brought back to where they need to be as well.
Okay. You got a list? Did you make a list?
We talked about it. There's going to be a list coming out.
Forthcoming list.
Big list.
Got it. Anything else?
No, sir.
Commissioner Byrd?
Well, just glad to see Ms. Markham is still moving forward on the cleanup and everything that we talked about. It's getting better. It's going to take time, but it's getting there, so appreciate that.
Yep. Absolutely. Anything else?
Still.
Mr. Parker, I know that we were under the gun last meeting to get an application in for use of the airport in LaBelle for the speedway. Did we get that in on time? Is everything okay?
We submitted it. We got declined by FAA. They gave some reasons, but we have not had a chance to sit down with our consultant and go through it. They said it.
Okay, so
I
you
can't
can
remember the
identify
exact
the reasons
wording,
for
but
us.
it was denied.
Okay.
So we're trying to work through that to see if we can revive it, to see what we can do to correct it. But we have not met with our consultant or the applicant.
Okay.
So,
All right. But you intend to do that?
we intend to do it, we just
Right.
mixed up with debris right now. It's
Right.
not
Right.
really
Yeah.
a pressing
Busy with the
priority.
task at hand.
Tomorrow, we are going to have one with AECom.
Okay. Let them look at it and see.
Yeah, we got notice probably, was it a week ago, Tommy?
Because I mean that the board obviously we approved it unanimously, and I'd love to see that for LaBelle, and I think that's another good draw. And we on the airport, I realize the FAA has some arm over it, but at least I hope that, and I know you will. And if I'm hearing what you're saying is that you are going to push it and say, hey, we really want this,
Right.
and try to give us.
Planning to, because we're making money on the deal.
That's right, exactly, and there's a whole lot of good reasons why. So please keep us updated and let us know if you need help or support with it. Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Harris?
We got 4 roads. We had 4 roads go out in North LaBelle, and they're working on them from the storm. I mean, big time. I think you've seen them with.
I did.
Okay. So, but Road and Bridge is working on them, and they're looking better. But it was a mess.
Yep. Anything else?
Yeah.
Commissioner Turner?
It was nice to see everybody attend the governor coming down yesterday. The lake is at 17.1. I think it's 17.2 today, actually. With any luck, it will crest at 17.45. It's very frustrating to hear the coastal communities complaining about us sending the deluges to the estuarine systems. I almost think sometimes that we should become ultra haters of everything in Orlando and Kissimmee, but I like a lot of people up there, so I can't do what people are doing to us, but we should demand that they don't send any water into Lake Okeechobee and flood everything north of the lake. It's amazing how we're just a pass-through, but we still get blamed for being the ones that send the water east and west. I don't know if y'all are aware, but there was about a 5 to 7 day period where they didn't send anything to the east coast because of the king tides, which is just a full moon tide with a wind that's coming out of the northeast direction. So it was pushing water back in. But there is a major push now that will be unfolding for deep water injection wells. There's over 200 of them that are already in use throughout the state. And it's primarily a wastewater removal process now. So you take the effluent off of the water, you have the biosolids that you push somewhere else, and then you take that water and you inject it deep into the ground, into what they call the boulder zone in the Floridan Aquifer. There's a huge push right now that is going to start to unfold from a lobbying perspective. I want us to be involved with that. I want us to be on the forward end. I think that this is something that our consultant will just automatically add to their bailiwick of things that they're talking out. But I think this is something that Hendry County needs to be in the throes of trying to push this ball down the field, so to speak, because this helps alleviate, depending on which side of the state you're on, 30 to 40% of the water that's being added to their estuaries, knowing that there's still a 40 to 60% of the water that's going out this tide that's coming from their own water basins regardless. So if you shut both of the outlets coming off of the lake right now off, the systems are still overwhelmed, And then one other thing I want you all to realize is that if you were sending pure Dasani water down the Caloosahatchee or pure Dasani water, which I'm a bigger proponent of Zephyr Hills, but either way, if you were sending those pristine, you can drink, you're essentially hurting their estuaries. So I just want to make sure y'all understand it's not something that is anything more, in my opinion, than hyperbole that is being created by the coastal communities to say that we're doing something wrong. And if y'all have any questions, if y'all want any data, if you want any facts associated with that, we can make those available to you. When I say we, I mean the Lake O Coalition that I'm chair of, that has been laser focused on Herbert Hoover Dike reparations, C-44, C-43, and then from there, the laundry list of other projects that are associated with the comprehensive Everglades restoration projects. But we're going to add deep water injection, or let me rephrase that. I'm going to lobby my colleagues to add deep water injection to that portfolio so that when we go to D.C. and lobby our Everglades caucus and our Florida delegation, that they will take this into consideration and start to make resources available to the district to be able to move this project further along.
I have a question for you along those lines.
Yes, sir.
the amount of water that runs out of the lake, east and west, what percentage of that comes in the north?
95 or 98%.
So, what, and here we sat yesterday with Colonel Kirk, the governor, and they're patting us on the head, and we appreciate them being here, but what do you think their openness to helping us with that message is? So 3% of what's leaving is actually our waters, but yet we're the ones getting blamed as the doers of what the evil is happening here. How can we get their help with that message?
I think that if you look at what the governor's appointee as the executive director of South Florida Water Management District, Pete Antonacci, prior to the current executive director, Ernie Marks, Pete Antonacci had a wonderful process that he implemented. Just the facts, I think, is what it was called, but it was essentially showing those types of data sets, and he was doing it on sometimes on a weekly, but definitely on a monthly basis. And he was stating, here are the prohibiting factors to water being sent south. And you all know Senate Bill 10 that scared the death out of us last year. If that reservoir was built today, and if it was able to hold 100% of the water that it would be able to have, it might remove 3 days of water that's being sent to the estuaries. Max 3 days. Probably wouldn't, though, because of the amount of rainfall that we had that came from Mother Nature. So, when the system's wet, for whatever reason, Commissioner Swindle, that message will not get out there. I do have a report that I serve on the Water Resource Advisory Council. I have a report that I want to share with y'all. It's referenced locally as the Kivett report, who's Jeff Kivett, who's the engineer that was in charge of a lot of the different facets that allow for water to flow in the state and or in our South Florida Water Management District. And I need to give that to Charles so that he can give it out to everybody, and y'all can kind of make yourselves familiar with some of the prohibiting factors, so that when you're speaking to a Rotary or you're speaking to colleagues in Broward or something like that, you have the facts that are in front of you. But I will tell you, the Corps tries to stay out of that fray of being a lobbying agency one way or another. But Colonel Kirk has been steadfast in making sure that we're notified of potential problems prior to them occurring. And luckily, there have been no problems. There's simply been just a tremendous deluge of water that's hit us. So, well, that is really, Commissioner Taylor, really. We just we got to continue to engage in this discussion, because this is something that it's sexy right now because it's really wet, but when it's really dry, we still need to be engaged in this conversation. That's where we really can move.
Well, we need to lean on you because of your affiliation with the multiple boards, so please keep us abreast of
absolutely
things that we need to be doing, like this new package that's fixing to come out that we need to be on board with.
And since Commissioner Turner brought this up, we need to circle back as a body and make sure that we have a very clear set of priorities going into the legislative session. I know that was scheduled to happen in September, which seems to be the month that it never was. It just sort of got lost with everything going on. The conversation has not stopped with Gray Robinson as far as what our over and under looks like on some of the priorities we've already discussed. I'll actually go around back to the cities and the school boards as well, as I'm hoping one of you would tap whoever your contacts are at those organizations. I still have not received any one of their priorities in my inbox. Again, September is the month that never happened, apparently, so we got some catch up. What I would love to do is get your general agreement to have Gray Robinson come on December 12th and be able to tee us up and cue in and see what we're looking at going into the session beginning in January.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be good.
That'd be great. Please do.
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
The only thing I'll close with, I agree with what Charles was saying, but I couldn't have prescribed what Ms. York was going to say any better. I know y'all probably are sitting up here going, really, did Carson give her talking points? But I want y'all to understand that A, that didn't happen. B, it's a little bit more rampant than what we realize. It's happening a lot. I don't know how much is happening in y'all's districts, but it's happening a lot in my district. And we have got to open up lines of communique. I don't know how we make it more friendly so that if the public is witnessing something like this, I don't know if it's a hotline, I don't know what it is, but we need to make people understand that they're the best eyes and ears that are out there, and we've got to start, we've got to start dealing with this.
If you see something, say something.
Absolutely. I mean, raw sewage. She was so angry at me today, and if you're sitting on your porch and you're smelling raw sewage, I'd be pretty mad at my commissioner too. I think, even though I have no jurisdiction over the Department of Health's concept of so guess what? They don't want to hear that, and I agree with them. I don't want to listen to some elected official tell me why it's not his fault.
But what they got to do, they got to get out there at 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. That's when it's happening.
Well, I would love for
After hours.
Dr. Pepe to give me the confidence that he's going to send somebody out there at 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. I don't think it'll ever happen.
Well, I think Margaret can do that.
I don't know if Margaret's able to comment on.
I think that's just
septic
one
tank crews.
of the multiple.
Yeah.
One of the multiple issues that needs to be addressed
Yep.
there
They can
at
do it.
all kind of hours.
Can you get with Pepe?
I'll be happy to get with Dr. Pepe, but also to let the board know is that we're shifting our hours with code enforcement here. I believe now that we're getting back into the swing of things to be covering on the weekends instead of it just being Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, which means we're not catching anybody basically. So we're going to be shifting that to cover Saturdays and Sundays as well to get
That's what you got to do.
things moving along those lines.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Turner?
I'm good, buddy. Thank you.
Attorney Lapp, anything? Assistant Administrator Davis, anything from you? Okay, just checking. Mr. Parker, anything else? Meeting adjourned.